Everyone loves Chompers, right?
What?!
You're kidding.
I hope we get done by the Chomper. Why did you have to go for me?
Well, I do, if you haven't noticed. With that being said, I don't think that they're all that balanced, so that's what I'll be fixing. You know the drill, so I hope you enjoy this part of the Garden Warfare 3 series. In order to compete with the superhero class's beam, every Chomper except for Yeti will gain an additional ranged projectile attack like the Battle for Neighborville version. Unlike said version, I'll be giving it heavy damage fall off so you can't consistently deal upwards of 40 damage from across the map, as a melee character. The projectiles will vary between each variant, which I'll talk about as I get to their respective characters. For the other major changes, I'll be moving their critical hitbox from their entire head to their mouth specifically. This is because I think it makes no sense why some classes have larger critical hitboxes than the default ones. Additionally, all of the spray variants will be replaced with biting ones in order to avoid overlap with the Snapdragon class. The last big change will be to swallowing as a whole. Where it acts as an instant vanquish will not change, but what comes after that will. If a Chomper chewing on a zombie is vanquished before swallowing them, he'll spit them out. This won't revive the zombie or anything, but it will make them revivable. This simple change removes the only potential benefit of kamikaze chomping, where the single vanquish you get from it is unrevivable. As unlikely as it is, the Chomper can be revived by a teammate after inevitably being bundled by the entirety of the zombie team, so making the zombie victim also revivable evens it out. Now, I'll get to each of the individual Chompers. Starting with Toxic Chomper, he'll be changed to not be a mere color swap of Fire Chomper. He'll attack by lashing his tongue, which deals toxic damage. He will be fully automatic, but have the mechanic that if you decide to mash instead of hold down the attack button, the tongue will eventually wrap around the target and you'll swallow them, no matter what angle. In order to pull this off, you'll need to mash for around 2 seconds consecutively. Just note here, trigger spamming to increase damage output would be fixed for Garden Warfare 3, so simply holding down the shooting button will yield the same results as mashing. His ranged attack will deal 20 damage up close and 10 up range, but have mild splash damage to make his shots more forgiving. Fire Chomper I'd probably have the least to say about, as he'll pretty much be the stock Chomper, but deal less damage and inflict fire onto his opponents. His ranged attack will deal only 1 fire damage at medium range. Power Chomper will leave behind damaging thunder clouds with each bite, making him a cloud variant at point blank range. This is pretty much just making him a spray and bite variant simultaneously. The initial chomp will deal 18 damage, and the clouds will deal 3 damage every half of a second, lasting for 3 seconds each. The ranged attack will not create damage clouds, but travel at hit scan speed and deal 10 damage at all ranges. They'll be fired at a slower rate than the usual projectile. Chomp Thing will have his health buffed to 150, and make it so that way whenever he's not actively taking damage, he'll be regenerating. His design will also be changed to give him a longer neck as well, which allows him to lunge out and have extended reach on each of his bites, which deal 30 damage at a marginally slower rate than stock due to the extra animation of him stretching out his neck for the extra reach. Due to him not having a health regeneration delay anymore, he will not have that upgrade available to him. Instead, he'll have a second standard health regeneration upgrade if you feel like doubling up. Disco Chomper has gotten heat because he needs to swallow enemies to achieve his legendary mode, but I personally don't mind, from a game design standpoint. It forces you to play as him in a different way than usual, which is quite dynamic. However, what I don't like is that 5 swallows is much harder to achieve than 5 simple vanquishes, and the legendary mode you get is no different than pretty much any of the party characters, which are lenient enough to even allow shared vanquishes to fill their meters. So, I'll make him an absolute beast in his legendary mode to truly pay off your hard work of getting there. Firstly, he'll get 50% armor when in his mode, move 75% faster, and get the added bonus of being able to instantly swallow zombies, and have 75% armor during the chomp animation. It's basically toxic overload, but balanced by the fact that you need to use more than 5 brain cells to achieve it. Do note that he won't get a standard damage increase during the legendary mode, so you pretty much have to go for swallows at all times with this character. His projectiles will probably be the weakest, dealing only 8 damage at long range, but 25 up close. Armor Chomper is a character that everyone loves to debate on whether he's good or bad, and I'm in the camp that he's decent. He's worse than Twilight Chomper 90% of the time, so I'll need to fix that. His whole gimmick is that it's hard for him to get into biting range, but when you do, you pretty much win any fight you're in, even if it's a 2v1. For example, watch me chomp one zombie and completely sponge all of the damage his partner deals to me, where I probably should have died multiple times if I were playing any other Chomper. I'm not saying that this happens all the time, but you'll find yourself surviving a lot longer. What I'll do is make his bite have further reach, so if an enemy would normally be out of range, biting will be slightly more forgiving. I'll also increase his rate of fire by a touch. Count Chompula is weird. He just feels off in a way, which is especially strange because he's mechanically identical to the standard Chomper, but with the vampire mechanic on swallows. To fix him, I'll add lifesteal to his primary weapon as well, making him heal for 5 health for every bite he lands. His secondary weapon will not have any lifesteal, and like his primary, it will be identical to the stock Chompers. Hot Rod Chomper has gone through multiple phases of what people think of his viability. I'll make it so when he gets a Swallow Vanquish, the speed boost won't be as potent as before. The hook for it, though, is that the speed boost from a Swallow is permanent. At least until you die. It will cap out at 5 Vanquishes, where you'll be moving about as fast as the default speed boost, but at all times. This will make him a very momentum-based character, so you'll be encouraged to rack up high Vanquish streaks if you want to keep blasting through enemies. Unicorn and Twilight Chomper do not need any changes.
Wow, look at me, I'm totally not biased here.
But actually, they don't need nerfs because they're the best Chompers, but it is more of a case of the other ones needing to be buffed around them. Unicorn's ranged attack will be exactly the same as the stock's to continue the theme of it being the exact same as the stock but with a warp, and Twilight's will fire slower, but deal more damage. And that's it! The franchise's most infamous character has been dealt with. I haven't done this before, but if you want to be an entire video ahead of everyone else in the Garden Warfare 3 series, I'd recommend looking into becoming a channel member. Biggest shoutouts of all go to Off-Putting, PvZ, and KCC GW3. And another huge thanks goes to these 2 wonderful people for joining the membership program. I hope you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you later.